Let's get into some things, child. We got some stuff to talk about today, honey. We got some stuff to talk about. Hit that like button if you are new here. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We have a great time over here. You meant what you said when you said it. Really be as bad, because I'll be understanding y'all sometimes. And when y'all know when I say y'all, you know I ain't talking about y'all. This me that all these people that got something to say have been actively involved in the political process in their world. I don't believe it. You ain't gonna convince me. I know y'all love me. What's up, you guys? Happy Monday. How you guys doing? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Everything good? Let me put my glasses on, y'all. I don't have my correct glasses on. Hold on. Child, I gotta get used to this mess. Okay. Ooh, I got a blurry. Okay, it's clearing up. All right. How are we doing? Happy Monday. Oh, I think I only have one more Monday before I go back to work. I found out today. Remember, I kept saying I wasn't sure when I go back to work. Well, I went to work today. I want a little more brown in there. Well, I went to work today, so I'll go back to work on the 18th. So I think next Monday is my last Monday. I think. Isn't that next Monday the 18th? I don't even know. I don't even know. Okay, you guys. So let's get into it. Let me put the chat up. Let me say hi to the people coming in. Oh, there you go, Cross Country Cruiser. Thank you, boo. Cross Country Cruiser always gifting the memberships. Let me see who got a gifted membership. Thank you, Cross Country Cruiser. I love you, boo. Danielle Jackson, Eileen S, April H, Yogi 911, and Aisha Muhammad. And you know what I love? I love that these are all names that I'm not familiar with. They're probably people that might be hanging out in the bushes who may or may not come down. But congratulations to everybody who got a membership. I know Yogi. We know Yogi. But the other names are new to me. So congratulations. If you are one of the people that hang out in the bushes, you know, drop down to thank Cross Country Cruiser for your gifted membership. And go check the stuff out. Go into the membership and see what all is up in there, honey. All right. Shut up, Cajun. Anyway, y'all, Cajun. Oh, Lord, that Cajun. You wait till we all meet up with Cajun in Louisville. Y'all wait. Cajun is gonna get himself in trouble. Hold on. I'm trying to scroll up, child, so I can say hi to the peoples. All right, thank you, Cross Country Cruiser, again for gifting the memberships. Congratulations to the people who got a membership. Now let me say hi to the people. Hey, The Informed, Courage, Chuck, Lock Queen, Alexis, Lovely Nola, Brandon, Sharice, Cross Country Cruiser, not Lady Leatherneck. Ooh, Lady Leatherneck. Candy Loves TV, Barbara. April H, she said, oh my goodness, I was gifted a membership. I just received a notification. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Sweet Pea, how you doing? How's Jamaica, girl? Hey, Phil, I was just about to ask about the glasses. Thank you for keeping me on track, boo. Hey, Marcus. Yes, shout out from Richmond, Virginia. Okay, you just getting home? Well, kick your feet up, honey. Pour you a cold one, whatever that is to you. Hey, Danielle. Montrez. Hey, Tracy Bull, Cajun. China White, what's going on? Iron Diva, yes. Hey, Chuck. Monday is the 11th. Today's the 4th. So what's next Monday? Oh, so I guess I have 2 more Mondays. I ain't mad about it. Good for me. Hey, Sierra. Hey, Miss Cruiser. I can't say it like Kelly Love. Hey, Chanel. I can't even say it like he used to say your name. Oh, my eyes watering. Sorry, y'all. The roll his.
That. Could you try again?
Girl, I didn't ask you nothing. My AI, come on. I didn't ask you nothing. Moving right along. Um, yeah, when I go back to work, my schedule is definitely going to change. Hey, Inspire. Hey, Boo. Next Monday is the 11th. Okay. So then the next Monday after that is the 18th, right? So I said I had one more Monday. So next Monday is the 11th. So then the Monday after that is the 18th, right? Am I tripping? Oh, you know what, Chanel? I actually thought about it earlier. I can't do TikTok today, but I definitely have to get back to doing it. I have to just be more consistent with it. But I can't today. Hey, Ray, what's up, boo? I'm glad you're here, Ray, because you reminded me that I do need to say something and get it out the way in our little quick topics. First of all, I don't know why my eye is watering. So first of all, I did talk to Diddy, my girlfriend Diddy, who is the curator of the book festival. I talked to her on Saturday, and she's very excited about us coming. She's looking forward to it. She was very, very touched that we are coming. That is such a large group of us coming to see, coming into town. You didn't do it, Ray. You just reminded me of something I want to say. Um, she also asked me, and I know it seemed like I've been asking y'all for a lot lately. I understand that we went from our birthday wish list, and we got the cruise, and we got the books and bourbon, and we had the VIP, and now I got my back to school wish list. So I know it sounds like I've been asking y'all for a lot lately. I understand that. But my girlfriend Didi asked if I could drop the link. She's coming out with a new book. If you guys are familiar with her her children's book series. I think the first one was called In the Nick of Time, and it's one of the only children's books to feature a Black Santa. So she has a new book in the series coming out in time for the Christmas holidays. It's another Nick book, and it deals with, the adventures of Nick. Nick is based on her youngest son. So she asked me if I could drop the pre-order link, because as you guys know, especially when we're talking about Black authors in these spaces, it's important that they show that people want their product. So I did put that link in the chat. I can drop it again if it's already scrolled up and you can't see it. But if you have a child, if you have a niece, a nephew, a grandchild that you want to let them see a Christmas book that is going to reflect them, meaning a Black Santa, a Black lead in the book, little Black boy named Nick, please support. I'm going to drop the link again, and I'm going to keep dropping it. I mean, I'm not going to just drop it just today. I'm going to keep dropping it. But I'm going to drop the link again. Hold on. What Tracy just sent me, child? Oh, yeah. That's on my list, Tracy. Thank you, boo. That's on the list. Okay. Hold on. Sorry, y'all. So I'm dropping the link again. Again, y'all. It's a children's book. It's not a lot. It's not really expensive. You guys could just consider it. Just consider it. Okay. And I will, like I said, I'm ordering it myself. Okay. Okay. Royal Caribbean had the stuff on sale again this weekend. Like I told you guys, they're going to keep doing these sales. If you have it when the sales go up, cool. If you don't, again, I would not panic, honestly, until maybe after Black Friday. And even then, I wouldn't really panic, but just know that there probably will only be a few more opportunities after Black Friday. But between now and Black Friday, you're probably good. Thank you, Ray. I appreciate you. That is not how much the book is, Cajun. Don't do that. It can't. That's not right. Don't do that. We're trying to get people to buy the book. Only people are gonna do is gonna look at what you said in the chat and then think, "Oh no, I'm not doing that." Don't do that. Don't do that. People don't need a big reason. And if that is what it says, and that's not correct, and that's not for a children's book. Stop it. Is it that much? That's still kind of high, I think, for a children's book. But child, I guess we are dealing with in the age of tariffs and things of that nature, honey. Procter & Gamble did confirm that they went up on their prices a tad. I'm still going to order me one. But anyway. Okay. $14.99 paperback, $20 hardcover. Okay. Thank you, Cross Country. I appreciate it. Oh, it's 42 pages? Yeah, I'm sorry. Because listen, I got the link from her. I ain't even looked at it myself. I know I'm going to order one. So I guess I just didn't think about it. But so that's a little bit longer than a children's book. Or maybe she's moving up to like young adult. Maybe it's more of a young adult. But I'm still gonna buy it. Thank y'all for those who bought it. I appreciate it. Cajun, you about to get timed out. What's up, y'all? Oh Lord. Before I get into the things today, so those are the church announcements. Tracy is here. At least I thought I saw Tracy. So she'll drop the menu in a minute. I mean the bar drinks for the day in a minute. Don is here, so we getting ready to y'all know what we getting ready to do. We already have over 100 people in the chat, so y'all already know what we about to do. Okay.
I said close them doors. Close the doors. Close the doors. Close the doors.
Okay, come on in. And Cruiser, if you are still floating around, we got a lawsuit today, and I don't know why Cruiser enjoys hearing me read these lawsuits, but she really enjoys it. So I'm going to let you know. We got a lawsuit today, Cruiser. We got a lawsuit, okay? What's actually a good idea? September's actually right before Christmas. It'd be a nice stocking stuffer. Yeah, thank you, Cruiser. Drop the link again at the end of the video because if we click on it now, the video will be cut off. Really? Okay. So there are our announcements. Okay, so Manassa. That's why Ray Bishop reminded me to give y'all my breakdown of the Manassa. I didn't do a reaction video to Manassa. For those of y'all who don't know what I'm talking about, Manassa Jordan, Bishop Jordan's son. We talked about him last week when we did the video with members only called The Boys Are Fighting, okay? And I told you guys to set your reminders to go check out Manassa's interview with St. James on Saturday night. Now, I did watch it, and I do not want to discourage anybody from watching it because it was interesting. You know what I mean? But if you are waiting for Manassa to give you any big sound bites or any big takeaways or any big insight into what's going on between him and Larry Reed, you're not going to get anything more than what you've kind of already gotten. The only thing that I did walk away from that video. Now, Ray, I know you caught it because you're a very intelligent young man. Okay. Cruiser, I don't know if you watched it, but if you watched it, you caught it. Don, I know you caught it. The only thing that I did walk away from in that video is, in my opinion, let me say that one more time for the people in the back. In my opinion, Manassa confirmed that there was a settlement between him and TD Jakes. Because when St. James asked him about TD Jakes, Manassa was like, well, I can't really say a lot because I'm not allowed to. Why are you not allowed to? In my opinion, the only reason why you're not allowed to is because, you signed paperwork saying you couldn't do it. Now, remember, we've always said that just because somebody settles a lawsuit does not mean that somebody is guilty or innocent We know that there's a cost-benefit analysis. Pam has explained all of that to us, okay? Pam has explained all of that to us. So just because there was a settlement allegedly does not mean that anybody was guilty. I'm just saying what I heard. Thank you, El Teddy. El Teddy, I was in your bushes. I was in jump. Well, you know, but wait a minute. Hold on. Child. Pam Bondi is a bimbo. Anyway. But I was over there in them bushes, honey. I was over in the bushes today. But thank you for the pupils coming over. Thank you, for El Teddy bringing his walking his class over, honey. I appreciate you. Tracy said the bar is open. She has a French 75, a gin and tonic, a honey whiskey on the rocks, and for the non-drinkers, we have a mango daiquiri. Tracy, can you do me a favor? Can you add something to the menu today? Can you give me a just go and give me an old-fashioned featuring some Uncle Nearest in celebration of the lawsuit. We're gonna be talking about the Uncle Nearest lawsuit today. So can y'all please can you do that for me, please, Tracy? Slide one down the bar with me for me, please, with some Uncle Nearest in there. I appreciate that. Okay. All right. Ray said that the choice of words was very interesting. Yes, it was. And again, in my mind, I heard it and I was like, oh. Okay. That's what I heard. That don't mean that's true. I'm just telling you that's what my ears said to me. That is what my ears said to me. Moving right along. Okay. Let's keep going. What this say? I can't even read my own handwriting. Damn it. What does this say? Oh, child. Hey, Ashley Stockwell, thank you for becoming a member. Thank you so much. I tried an old fashioned this weekend. Oh, it was so good. Baby, I'm telling you, I love me a good old fashioned, honey. That's my drink. Watch my drink, honey. Okay, so listen. Let's get into a couple of these other ones off the list before we get into some of the deeper, because we're going to go through this Uncle Nearest lawsuit. So let's get into some of these other ones and get them on out the way. Denise Richards went to court. Y'all know she's going through this contentious divorce with her husband, soon to be ex-husband, Aaron Pfeiffer. Y'all know that, baby, let me tell y'all what I found out. Because I don't really care that much about Denise Richards, and I really didn't watch her. I certainly didn't watch her reality show. But Denise Richards has her in-laws, and I think her brother-in-law living in her house to the point where she rented another townhouse just so that her and her kids would have somewhere to live. And then she rented another townhouse next to that townhouse so her and her husband could have privacy, because the in-laws were only supposed to come and visit for 2 months and they've been there like 3 years. What? I'm sorry, what? So anyway, the judge sided with her in court today. She said that he stole a bunch of stuff from the house. When he moved out, he took a bunch of stuff that didn't belong to him, and she wanted it back. And the judge agreed, yes, that was not for him to take, and you get your stuff back. But baby, when I heard that, I said, I'm sorry, what? Your in-laws came for a 2-month visit, and they had been there for 3 years, to the point where rather than telling them it's time to go, you just go rent another house, and then you got to rent another house. Now, they said she ended up renting 3 houses altogether in another neighborhood, because the third house ended up being her office. So she may or may not have already had that space as her like office area or whatever, for her business or whatever. But this is the same man that say she owe him money. If you don't go sit your ass down somewhere Denise, you knew then. I mean, 2 months might become 6 months, but it damn sure don't become 3 years. They all play her, and he kept her on. Crazy. Anyway, yeah, Portia Williams is gonna be on this upcoming. I didn't watch this show. I don't know nothing about this show, but I'm just letting y'all know what's happening, child. I'm just letting y'all know what's happening because I don't know this show. But I guess it's a show called Brilliant Minds. That sounds like something that Cajun will watch. Brilliant Minds. Portia Williams. Oh, it says it comes on NBC. But Portia Williams joins the cast of NBC's Brilliant Minds for season 2. So, I mean, you know. Thanks. I tried your app recommendation to have dinner with strangers and meeting new people. I met a web designer that's helping me get my website design. Look at that. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Lauren. Oh my gosh. Yes, it was called Time Left. Yes. I was talking to somebody about that this weekend. I'm definitely going to do another one before school starts. I'm going to do another one before school starts. It is a scripted show. No, it's a scripted show. It's like it's like some sort of doctor show. It's a scripted show. But child, she might be on 4 episodes. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a job. We know she need one. I mean, I'm just saying. We know she need one. Okay. So, you know, it's a job, child. It's a job, honey. It's a job. Okay. Y'all remember last week when we read through that whole lawsuit with Gilbert Arenas? Where he was arrested. He was indicted last week and he was arrested, and allegedly he was running a whole illegal gambling house where allegedly he was renting the house and he was allowing people to rent the house out from him and use it to have these illegal poker parties. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that last week? That is true, Symmetry. Remember, she has a contract with NBC Universal. That's true. I did like the Irrational, but I kind of figured it wasn't gonna I don't know. I liked it, but that was one of those shows that once we got the information, we found out who was in charge of the bombing and stuff like that. It kind of, and then he got a girlfriend. I think everybody was hoping that him and the wife were going to get back, the ex-wife were going to get back together. But I did like the Irrational. Let me tell y'all something. Gilbert Arenas, who is a troll, let me be clear. Gilbert Arenas is like the 50 Cent of the sports world, right? He is definitely a troll. But Gilbert Arenas got, he posted bond and he went back down to his podcast and he said, I'm snitching. He said, whatever they was doing in the house, it ain't had nothing to do with me, and I'm snitching. Now, I'm just, y'all, what Gilbert of the Arena said. Gilbert Arenas said, I'm snitching. Now, let me say this. And I hate to lean into stereotypes, but I'm going to lean. I hate to lean into stereotypes, but we were going to lean for a second. Sir, those were some Russian people that you were in business with, allegedly. I don't know if those are the people you want to piss off. Now, again, I know that's a whole stereotype about Russian people and stuff. I get it. It's like Italian people. All Italians are not part of the mafia. I understand. Iranian and Russians, right? So I understand that just because they're Russian doesn't mean that they're gangsters. I understand that. However, I don't know if publicly telling these people that you gon' snitch is the best decision. Even if you planning on snitching, that's something you might want to move in silence with. You may want to move in silence with that. That's all I'm saying. I just don't know how smart it was for you to come down here on your social medias and tell the people you gon' snitch. I mean, snitching is frowned upon in the Black community. Although people snitch all the time, but saying you gon' snitch is frowned upon, even though people do it a lot. That's all I'm going to say. Now, I know an indictment is not a conviction. Clearly, we read the indictment against Diddy, and, clearly an indictment is not a conviction. But allegedly, in that indictment, sir, they have text messages from you to these people, setting up dates and times and pickups and drop-offs and quoting prices. They have the signed lease agreement between you and the person who owned that house. Sir, they got footage. They probably got an affidavit from the DoorDash guy who was delivering pizzas. At best case scenario, you might, and notice I said might, you might be able to argue that you were subleasing, like you rented the house and you were subleasing the house and you ain't know what was going on in the house, that those text messages were about you getting your rent, not about no poker parties. I don't think that's going to work either, because I read those text messages and they sound like you're talking about a poker party. But I mean, maybe. What up, St. James? I just got finished talking about your interview with Manassa on Saturday. I got to put my DC accent on that. On Saturday. Cruiser be laughing about DC accent, which I don't even hear. I don't even know I have one and I don't hear it. But there's certain words I know. And Saturday is definitely one of those words. But anyway, he think these are the players he clowns on his pop. Right. I mean, I don't know. But anyway. Child. Anyway, so there's that. I just wanted to give y'all that update, honey. Diddy, the judge said, no, sir, you're going to sit right there. The judge has ruled, and the judge has said, no, sir, you're going to sit right there. Now, I'm going to read y'all what the judge has said, okay? And this, I got this, it was just filed today, so let's read through it. Defendant Sean Combs renews his request for bail pending his sentencing. On his application, Combs doesn't contest the detention is mandatory for his crimes of conviction. He relies solely on the limited exception to mandatory detention, where the court finds by clear and convincing evidence that the person is not likely to flee or pose a danger to the safety of any other person or the community if released. And there are exceptional reasons why such person's detention would not be appropriate. Exceptional reasons exist. There is a unique combination of circumstances giving rise to situations that are out of ordinary. And again, they're giving all the case law as I read through this. I'm just reading through this without case law, okay? Without giving all the case law. He says, as for risk of flight or danger, Combs fails to meet his burden by clear and convincing evidence for the reasons set forth for the record as of July 2nd of 2025. Why they had to do that on my birthday? Why it had to be on my birthday? Increasing the amount of bond or devising additional conditions doesn't change the calculus given the circumstances and heavy burden of proof that Combs bears. At trial, the defense conceded the defendant's violence in his personal relationship. This type of violence, which happens behind closed doors, is impossible to police with conditions. On this basis alone, Combs' application is denied. He said, the fact that y'all admitted that this man is a DV person, that he is a violent person behind closed doors, that admission alone makes me be like, no, sir. I'm not letting you back out here. Even if the flight or danger requirement were satisfied, there are no exceptional reasons warranting a departure from the Congress has required Combs. Mann Act arguments might have traction in a case that didn't involve evidence of violence, coercion, or subjugation in connection with the acts of prostitution at issue. But the record here contains evidence of all three. All three. While Combs may contend at sentencing that the evidence should be discounted and that what happened was nothing more than a case of willing swingers utilizing the voluntary services of escorts for their mutual pleasure, the government takes the opposite view. That Cassie Ventura and Jane were beaten, coerced, threatened, lied to, and victimized by Combs as part of their participation in these events that makes this case unlike any of the other cases Combs points to and places it outside the narrow exception to detention that Congress otherwise deemed mandatory. To be clear, as indicated at the July 2nd hearing, the court offers no view as to how the parties' competing arguments about the evidence will cash out for purposes of sentencing, which is happening in just 60 days. At this juncture, however, the record doesn't establish that kind of out-of-the-ordinary exceptional circumstances requiring immediate release. Combs also points to squalor and danger at the Metropolitan Detention Center, conditions that he says have been aggravated by the federal government's aggressive budget cuts this year. Really, sir? Okay, then. The public outcry concerning the conditions has come from all corners, but as Combs acknowledges, MDC staff have been able to keep him safe and attend to his needs, even during an incident of threatened violence from an inmate. So basically, let me finish reading this. The court found that the conditions at the MDC rose to the level of exceptional reason, warranting release where it was undisputed that the defendant posed no risk of flight or danger, and where unique circumstances counseled release, including the defendant's advanced age and serious medical conditions which require care that the MDC may not be able to provide. Those facts are not presented here, and nothing in Chavez, that's the case that was cited, suggests that exceptional reasons warrant release for every person awaiting sentencing in the MDC. Rather, the MDC is a factor, admittedly a serious one to consider, along with others, in making that determination. For these reasons, as well as those stated on the record at the July 2nd hearing, Combs fails to satisfy his burden to demonstrate an entitlement to release. This motion for bail denied. So Diddy not going nowhere until he's not going nowhere until after he serves his time, because his hearing is in October, I think. His sentencing is in October. But here's what it sounds like. It sounds like your own words came back and bit you in the butt. The fact that your attorneys conceded to the fact that you're a violent person. And here's the thing. I understood during the trial why they did that, because you weren't being charged with that. So during the trial, I understood why your attorneys were like, listen, yes, he beat Cassie. We see it. We can't deny it. It happened. But that's not what he's being charged with. But now the judge is saying, but the fact that y'all admitted that he is a violent person, and and honestly, the only reason why he admitted that he did that is because the video, because y'all know when Cassie filed that lawsuit, he was like, I ain't never put my hands on her. I never did that. And then when the video dropped, I was in a dark place. I was really going through something. Yeah. So, and then you said that part of the reason why you want to be let out is because the conditions at the Department of Corrections is so bad. But again, your own words said, yeah, but the guards been looking out for a brother. Okay, well, they're going to keep looking out for you for the next 2 months then. The judge said you got 60 more days. You'll be all right. I ain't even mad about it, child. I don't care. He said, you got 60 more days. You'll be all right. Bye. Okay. Okay. All right, y'all. Over to the Politricks. Say I'm in a... See, when y'all asked me to do it, I don't know how I did it the first time. Okay, let me see if I can try to do it again. I was in a dark place. See, I feel like I didn't say it right that time. It's a pressure. It's a pressure. The moment he get out, he going over there with Russell. He definitely is a flight risk. It sounds like the judge wasn't convinced that he wasn't a flight risk either. I mean, he said that he just didn't feel like there were any conditions that his lawyers could offer up that he would feel comfortable. That's me paraphrasing. That's not what he said. But he's, I don't feel like there was anything they could have offered where the judge would have felt comfortable. Which makes me wonder if there have been some rumors or if somebody said something to him on the back end. Like, I don't know. Oh, Gina definitely got a check. Child, y'all know Gina got a check. I told y'all Gina got a check when she didn't show up for court during the trial. When Gina disappeared during the trial, I told y'all she got a check. Come on now. And she miraculously pops up while the jury is deliberating. And now all of a sudden, I'm not afraid of Diddy. I guess you're not afraid of him. You was afraid of him when you filed that lawsuit, though. You was afraid of him when you filed that lawsuit. But now that the check done cleared, honey, you feeling good. You feeling footloose and fancy free now. You all right. You feeling all right now. I wonder how many commas was in that check. I wonder. I'm going to be honest and tell y'all, because he did not get convicted of the more serious charges, I'm not convinced he was going to flee either. Had he been convicted of the RICO and the more serious charges, but because these are really, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not lessening prostitution, but I mean, considering what he could have gotten convicted of and what he could have been facing, I don't know. But you never know. We'll never find out because he wasn't convicted of it and he ain't getting out, so. Young Miami has been very smartly staying away from it. I mean, she released a little statement at the beginning basically saying, listen, that wasn't my experience. I empathize with the women who went through these things, but that was not my experience with him. And she pretty much left it at that. But don't forget, Miami has her own lawsuit. And I know that a lot of people aren't really putting a lot of weight on that lawsuit because it's Lil Rod and it's Tyrone Blackburn. However, don't forget that that Young Miami and her cousin are also involved in this lawsuit with Tyrone Blackburn. So, did she say what, Don? Did Young Miami say that wasn't? Yeah, Young Miami, she said that a while ago. Because remember, people kept wanting her to speak on it. And she was like, I mean, she didn't release like no official statement, but she said it on a live or something. I think she was on a live with her and Saucy Santana or Saucy. I think, was it when Saucy Santana interviewed her on her pod, on Carisha Please, or were they just on Instagram? But she said that she was like, I empathize with those women, but that wasn't my experience. I believe that's almost a quote. So Fed time is 8 months equals 1 year. So he's already done a year and a half of Fed time. Right. So that's why I don't really, not based on what he was convicted of, I don't think he would have fled. Now again, had it been the RICO, had it been the whole kit and caboodle, that might have been a different conversation. Sorry. Let me see if I can find the quote. She said it on her, okay, so other people know what I'm talking about. She said it on her podcast. Yeah. Let me see. Young Miami speaks on Diddy. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, it was on Carisha Please, August the 8th of 2024. And what she said was, when asked why she didn't speak out over the past year as various civil lawsuits accused Combs of RAPE and trafficking, Young Miami said she didn't have that experience with Bad Boy Records founder. She said, I can't speak on something that wasn't my experience, and I can't speak on something that I don't know. I can't speak on those allegations because I wasn't around at the time. I don't know that person, and that wasn't my experience. Yeah, that was almost a quote. Yeah. And she was. Now listen, for the majority of them lawsuits, that was before her time. I'm not saying that that's not her experience. I'm saying that was a smart answer. I don't know what her experience with Diddy was, but I do remember at one point in time, didn't she say she liked golden showers? Didn't she say she liked golden showers? And we know that came up in the testimony about golden showers. I'll be honest, I knew Young Miami wasn't a victim due to, one, her background, and two, the fact that she's actually famous, unlike the other who were dependent on Diddy. I disagree with that statement, Xavier. One, I don't think that anybody's background dictates whether they become a victim of SA or assault or anything like that. I don't think one equals the other. And what about her background? Like, what about Young Miami's background? We don't know anything about these people other than what they have allowed us to believe about them in the public. We don't know how that woman is in real life. We don't know her situation in real life. We know what she raps about. And we know that what people rap about does not always equal their real life and their real life experiences. So I don't know if I agree with that statement. I don't think that's fair. And I think that's part of the problem with women is that we put women in this bucket based on what we perceive that we know about them. That doesn't mean that they're not a victim. That doesn't mean that they can't become a victim. And just because she had her own money, let me tell you something. Lil Miami's money compared to Diddy's money won't shit. I mean, I get it that she was making money, but she wasn't making Diddy money. So being comfortable, which is at best what Young Miami was, is comfortable, ain't billionaire money. I'm sorry. So I can't, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that statement. Young Miami said Diddy was giving her $250K a month. She was doing something for that $250K. We don't know what was happening. Hell, Portia was getting $30,000 a month. I mean, hey. Yeah, I mean, again, just because she was getting $250,000 a month, which I don't know about that. I think that was an exaggeration. That's a lot of fucking money. But even if we know that Diddy liked to pay for his women, we know he liked to, because that's a control factor, right? we know that he liked to give allowances and pay for rent and buy cars. That is a way that these type of people get people to need them, you know. But I don't know, 250, that sounds like a lot. That's a month, y'all. $250,000 a month. That's a lot of fucking money. I'm sorry. I don't know if I believe that. Just because she said it don't mean I believe it. I'm sorry. I don't know if I believe that. What up, Angela? Diddy still has to keep appearances, so of course he's going to make the appearance of spending on his women. Yeah. They don't deserve it, but Young Miami was looking for a person like Diddy. She was You don't know that. Stop saying that. You do not know that. I understand that that's your opinion, Xavier, but again, those are the types of things that irritate me because, again, in my opinion, those are the kinds of things that we constantly use to keep women in this role where we don't want to see them as victims just because we may perceive them to be promiscuous, just because we may perceive them to be down for whatever, just because they have put a certain image of themselves out there. I don't like that we disregard women that we feel are not of the same level to what we think they should be valued. I don't like it. That is why we have so many prostitutes that get that the police don't give a damn, that report being violated and it's not taken seriously. Just because I said yes 200 times does not mean I said yes 202 times. And I hate that narrative that we keep putting out there that, oh, well, she was asking for it. Oh, well, she wanted it. We don't know what that woman had going on. Because the same thing was said about Cassie until that video came out. A whole lot of people was saying the same thing about Cassie until that video came out of Diddy kicking her ass down that hallway. A whole lot of people came down here and had to apologize to Cassie. Because a whole lot of them, oh, she just trying to get money. Diddy took care of her. Diddy did this. Diddy did that. Until we saw that video, then all of a sudden it was a whole different attitude. And again, I don't know her any more than y'all know her. So I don't know what the truth is or not, but I'm not going to assume that she is any less valuable or her experience is any less valuable than Cassie's is just because people perceive that she is more promiscuous than we thought Cassie was, or she might be down for stuff that we didn't think Cassie was down for. Like, let's not negate the fact that it came out in court that Cassie was kind of down for this shit. But it came a point where she was like, okay, this is a lot now. Now you asking a lot. And again, if we're going to say that a woman has a right to say yes 100 times, but if they say no 101 times, then they've been violated, we can't change the rules because we perceive somebody a certain way. And again, she said that ain't even her experience. But what I'm saying is we can't change the rules based on who we think is a victim or who is valuable enough to be a victim. I don't like it. I don't like that, y'all. And I love y'all. And Xavier, you know I love you, but I don't like that. Because again, what about people who are on the streets? Are they not valued? Do they not get to say no? Just because they sell sex, they don't get to say no? Right. Two things can be true at the same time. Diddy took care of his women and he still kicked her ass. Child. Let me tell y'all something. I remember there was y'all know I like my true crime. There was a serial killer. They called him, and I might have the city wrong, so y'all help me out. Sierra said, Young Miami is not a victim, though. She said it, and on Twitter went on a rant about being Diddy's concubine. So I'm gonna stop right there because I don't want to keep going back and forth. But Sierra, I feel like you missed everything I just said. You missed the whole point of what I just said. So let me go back to what I was saying. And I still love you, but let me go back to what I was saying. So there was a documentary on, I want to say he was called The Cleveland Strangler. The Cleveland Strangler, I think. I know it was, I believe it was either Cleveland. I think it was Cleveland, but it was in Ohio. But I'm almost certain it was Cleveland. I want to say it was Cleveland, but if somebody has the right city, correct me. What's the other C city in Cleveland? It's Cleveland and then it's Cincinnati. No, it's not Cincinnati. I think it was Cleveland. But if y'all know who I'm talking about, y'all correct me in the chat if I have the wrong city. But I know it was Ohio. So it was a man called the Cleveland Strangler. And again, if I'm wrong, put it in the chat. This was a black man, lived in a poor neighborhood. He lived right next to like a meat processing center. That's important to the story. He lived next to a meat processing center, right? Cleveland, I think it was Cleveland. I think I'm right. Literally, I'm just going to give y'all the short version of the story. He preyed on women in that city for years. 3 of his victims actually got away, went to the police. One lady literally jumped out of the 2nd story window naked. They had to take her to the hospital. I think a neighbor saw her jump out the window and took her to the hospital. Police reports were filed. This man was never arrested. There was even an incident where I don't remember the details, but I think the one who went to the one who actually went to the hospital, I think she snuck out of the hospital because she was scared that he was going to come and get her, or he actually came to the hospital, something along those lines. I think he came to the hospital and got her. I think he did. I think. But again, I don't remember all the details because, baby, it was so heartbreaking. I ain't watched it a second time. I only watched it once. But the point I'm making is nothing was ever done. Even to the point where people were complaining about the smell, but because the house was next to this meat packing place, people were like, oh, it stinks because of the meat. Oh, it stinks because of this factory. It was Cleveland. Thank you, R&D, but it was Cleveland. And I remember at the end of the one that I looked at the end of the documentary, they actually had like a meeting with the 3 victims that got away. And those 3 women were talking and telling their story. And those women were not valued. Their stories were not valued. They were not valued. Their experience was not valued. The police didn't give a damn. The neighborhood didn't give a damn. The neighborhood knew that man was taking women in that house. But here's the reason why. Because these women were crack addicts. They were prostitutes. They were living on the street. Nobody gave a damn. And when you watch at least the documentary that I saw, where those women at the end of the documentary were talking, they brought all of the women together and they were like, nobody in this world will understand our experience but us, because nobody went. I don't even want to get how bad it was. I don't even want to go down the road of how bad he was, how bad the house was, and just how nasty everything was inside of that house. But the fact that, so when I hear stuff like that, maybe that's why my reaction is the way it is, because I like the way I felt watching that. Anthony Sowell, thank you, R&D, but that was his name, Anthony Sowell. The way I felt at the end of that documentary with those women crying and telling their story and talking about how they felt like their life, like one of them tried to unalive herself, how they felt like their life was not valuable because nobody cared, because they were prostitutes, because they were crack addicts. You know what I'm saying? And I hear what y'all are saying, and we just want to disagree on this one. I hear what y'all are saying, but when people disregard somebody's potential experience just because the perception is they're a certain way, I get frustrated because I'm like, what do we know? And I understand what you said, Sierra, that Young Miami came down here and said she wasn't a victim. I got it. Bam. I got it. I'm sure there was a point in time when Cassie said she wasn't a victim either. We see all the time where women are where women are involved in domestic situations, and when the police show up at their door, they say, ain't nothing to see here. We good. Oh, this bruise, I fell down the steps. No, he didn't hit me. You see what I'm saying? So I hear what y'all are saying, and I'm not dismissing y'all's opinion because everybody has a right to their opinion. But that is why I guess I get frustrated because, oh my gosh, that documentary just did something to me, y'all. The way it ended, and I was just like, oh my God. And when we think about the numbers, I'm going down a different road. Let me get out of here. I got you, Sierra. I do. I do. I definitely got you, Sierra. But I'm saying I'm just explaining why my reaction is the way it is. But you have a right to your opinion, love. You really do. And I don't never want none of y'all to feel like y'all can't have y'all opinion. I don't have to agree with it, just like y'all don't always agree with my opinion. But that is why my reaction is the way it is, because when I think about it. But anyway, let's move on, y'all. Yes, the meatpacking plant covered the smell because people don't know and thought that was the smell. He buried over 12 women in the backyard and 4 decomposed bodies in the house. Yes. It was. I didn't want to go that deep, Laurel, but yes, it was really, really, really nasty. It was really, really nasty. But anyway, y'all, let's get into some other stuff, child. Let's change the subject because Lord knows. Oh, Jesus. And I agree with you, Cruiser. We as a society, and again, this isn't about Sierra or Xavier. This is just a general statement. We have definitely been conditioned to blame the victim, especially if that victim is a woman. And I said this last week, and I'm going to say it again, and then we really are going to move on. The fact that, and again, we covered the Jeffrey Epstein documentary. I'm going to do Gasoline Maxwell because we never talked about her, but we're going to do Maxwell too. But the fact that multiple women have told their story about what happened to them, what Jeffrey Epstein did to them. Multiple women. The fact that lawsuits were settled. The fact that he was convicted at one point. He just got a sweetheart deal out of it. The fact that these women told the same story. The fact that a lot of these women told the same story. Yet, we still want to see the file. Why we need to see the file? Why do we need to see the file? To do what? What do we need to see the file to do? Because let's be clear. Whether it's Biden, whether it's Obama, whether it's Trump, hell, whether it's Bush, we can even go back to Clinton and Bush. If the people really wanted to come for Epstein, they've had the information they've needed to come for Epstein. But the fact that these women have told y'all what happened to them and that's not enough, that is a problem. That's a problem. Like I said the other day, we went through the documentary on Bill Cosby. We saw that the first woman to accuse Bill Cosby of violating her goes back to the 1960s. The 1960s. Yet you got women that still, I mean, not women, you got people still holding on to, oh, they only came after Bill Cosby because he was trying to buy NBC. I'm sorry, what? And in a lot of situations, when we know better, we do better. I didn't know that there were women that had accused Bill Cosby going back to the 1960s. But you know what I didn't need? I didn't need a documentary to convince me, because I was satisfied with the first one that said, this is what Bill Cosby did to me. You know why? Because I can separate Bill Cosby from Heathcliff Huxtable. All right, let's get into these last couple of stories. So listen, let me see. We got 1, 2. I think we covered. Okay. Dez Bryant and Nicki Minaj have been arguing down to the internet. Now, listen, for those of you who don't know who Dez Bryant is, because I know everybody in here is not a sports person, let's get into who Dez Bryant is and let's talk about why they arguing. Okay. Dez Bryant is a former wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys, former NFL player, right? Now, last week, Michael Parsons, who was a current Dallas Cowboy fan, said he wanted a trade. He said that he was tired of Jerry Jones and his, tactics. He was tired of being cornered and, in the office without his agent, without his representation, trying to be bullied into a deal. He said, I don't want to play here no more. I want to be traded. I don't want to play here no more. So then Dez Bryant came down and he basically was like, I know your pain, bruh. I understand what your pain, what you was going through down in Dallas, because I went through a lot of those same things myself. Well, then Jerry Jones, who's the owner of the Cowboys, who was also seen in racist still pictures from the 1950s of the Little Rock Nine, he was one of the little white kids in the background of the picture taunting them kids that was just trying to fucking go to school. Yeah, him. Yeah, that Jerry Jones that we literally have immortalized in one of the more famous pictures from the 1950s. That Jerry Jones. I said Jim Jones. That Jerry Jones, okay? He said, baby, Jerry Jones came down here and he said, and I'm paraphrasing this child because they've been arguing for 3 days. Y'all know how Nicki Minaj does. I ain't got time to go through all them damn messages. But Jerry Jones basically was like, he said that he tried to discredit Dez Bryant's experiences by saying that, he negotiated with Rock Nation and they negotiated in bad faith, and that Dez Bryant did not live up to what Rock Nation / Jay-Z promised him, because Dez Bryant was signed to Rock Nation Sports. Okay. Now, y'all know whenever somebody says Rock Nation, y'all know here comes Nicki Minaj. So Nicki Minaj. So this is what and Rock Nation responded to Jerry Jones, and this is what Rock Nation said. Rock Nation said, in 2015, at the 21 Club, on a napkin, Jerry Jones, Juan Perez, Sean Carter, and Stephen Jones negotiated a 5-year, $70 million deal, which included a $45 million guarantee and a $20 million signing bonus for Dez Bryant. At the time, it was the second largest contract for a wide receiver in NFL history. That claim that Mr. Carter or Rock Nation representatives did not return a call from Jerry Jones is not only a false statement, but it is also a comical one. So they came down and said, don't put us in that. Don't do that. Dez Bryant then said, Jerry Jones, I don't think it's smart to mention my name. I kept quiet about a lot of unfair shit and some G shit. We can have story time if that's what we're doing. So Dez Bryant said, listen, don't do it. Don't make me come down here and tell the people what my experience was down to the Dallas. Hold on. Let me see. Hold on. Somebody said something. I wanted to read it before I scrolled up. Give me a second. But Jerry didn't offer Dez $200 million like he did Michael Parsons. Well, I don't think that's comparable. I mean, Dez Bryant ain't been in the league in 10 years. Like you can't really compare what Michael Parsons is getting offered in 2025 to what somebody was getting offered in 2015. I mean, the salaries keep going up. But at the time, like I just said, it was the highest salary for a wide receiver in NFL history. So, I mean, he got a damn good, thing. Okay. So then here come Nicki Minaj. First of all, ma'am, nobody called for you. Nobody asked for you. Nobody sent out a bat signal for you. Nobody was looking for you. Why are you here? I don't know. But here she comes. Natasha Saint, is that Saint Sir? I don't know if I'm saying that right. It says y'all just went in on believe abused women as the Cleveland situation and Cassie, but then y'all want to discredit and mock Nicki Minaj for defending herself against abusive women in the music industry. Dez did not start with her first. It is clearly right here. This was literally Nicki Minaj's response to what Dez Bryant did not say to her. Dez Bryant did not say to her. Nicki Minaj said, hey, it's Nicki. It's coming from your official account, but okay, girl. How about we play a game? Every time you do a Jerry Jones or NFL story time, I'll do a story time of my own. That is her inserting herself into this situation. You said in 2020 he did. Ma'am, that was 5 years ago. Does it still count? I mean, I'm not being funny. It still counts if it was 5 years ago. Okay, I'm going to just keep going. I'm going to just keep reading. So then, and she posted this, want to play a game. Okay. So then somebody said, you involved now? And Dez Bryant said, no, I'm not. Then Dez Bryant said to Nicki Minaj, enjoy your day. So then Nicki Minaj, this is what you're talking about, Natasha. Then Nicki Minaj said, this just came across my desk from 2020. I guess you're one of the guinea pigs they've been using to bully people for them. Did you think I came? And it went on, but it was cut off. And here's an article from 2020 that says Dez Bryant gets blasted by Nicki Minaj fans for jumping into beef with, and then she redacted who the beef was with. But again, I just feel like that was 5 years ago. I don't feel like that counts. But if you feel like it counts, Natasha, I can't tell you. So then somebody said, I just turned off the phone for 24 hours, bro. This shit will be endless. Dez Bryant responded, man, I'm not bothered one bit. I don't give a fuck. She got personal issues she's dealing with. I pray she gets through whatever got her fucked up in the head. Okay? So then Dez Bryant said, how I get caught up in the madness? I want people to love me the way they love Nicki. Real talk. So then Nicki Minaj responded the following. Go beat your mom. And then ask Desiree Perez and Jay-Z why they've allegedly been to so many black people while lining their own pockets and weaponizing racism in order to keep black people blinded from the truth? Why wasn't Desiree Perez pardoned by, why wasn't, I think she meant to say why wasn't Desiree Perez's pardoned by President, oh no, it's right. Why wasn't Desiree Perez's pardoned by President Trump publicized to the black community and hip-hop culture the way Lil Wayne's was? Did she repay the president for the monumental blessing he did? She betrayed him the way Jay-Z allegedly betrayed the Democratic Party and countless others that he's had business dealings with in the past? On second thought, don't beat your mom. I'm sure she loved you once. And then it says, this tweet is all alleged and for entertainment purposes only. Anyway, Barb's next. And then she got a bunch of hashtags. So then Dez Bryant responds, say blank, didn't go to jail. He called, it's blacked out, so I don't know what he said. I didn't go to jail or touch my mama. I was defending myself. I removed her nails from my skin. Folks know I was dealing with some corrupt shit in Dallas. I don't get how you can even be on the internet with your husband being a blank offender. You said we're speaking facts. Weird. So come on. And then he posted an article about Nicki Minaj's husband. We all know that story, okay? So then Nicki Minaj says, I'm so happy you brought this up. I'll give you 10 million cash if you come and fight him since you beat your own mom. He was lied on 31 years ago while both of them were 16, and there's proof. That's why they couldn't get that money they desperately needed or sued for. To be clear, the lawsuit is still ongoing. It's not over yet, but okay. Now you, on the other hand, was beating your mama as an adult. Bigfoot has a brand new weirdo case and as an adult too. Jay-Z dogging a paternity test that could prove he effed a teen as an adult. Desiree Perez beating her daughter and calling her son-in-law a nigger with the hard R as an adult. Falsely had her own daughter institutionalized as an adult. Lied and said her own child was on drugs as an adult. This tweet is alleged and for entertainment purposes only. That's not funny, but it's funny. As a matter of fact, let me go call President Trump and ask for a pardon like Desiree Perez did. Then she posted again. Next, I'll get into the casino stuff. Now, I don't know what casino she's talking about. So then it says, Dez Bryant butthole allegedly leaks as an adult. Should I start my story time now? So then somebody tweeted at Dez Bryant and said, now he's been lied on his whole career, laughing my ass off. So why speak out against someone who is standing up for themselves or the lies someone else put out about them and they're simply speaking up for themselves? Stop using blank as for your brain. So then Dez Bryant responded and said, I'm not trying to hear all that victim shit. She came at me. I wished her well and gave her respect. I was standing up for myself whenever Jerry spoke on my name. I never mentioned her or Rock Nation. She decided to ride that wave. Fuck all of that. I'm about to tell Cardi B on her. And then he added Cardi B. That's what's funny. He didn't just say I'm about to tell Cardi B, baby. He added Cardi B. Baby, Cardi B got enough. Leave Cardi B over there with Ra Ali. Let her stay over there. So then, somebody sent Nicki on Twitter. It's showing it on Twitter. Somebody sent Nicki an article which talks about Dez Bryant's daddy. That allegedly Dez Bryant's daddy committed statutory, So then Nicki Minaj says, is this true? Projection, like always. We didn't make your dad blank your mom, just like we didn't make you beat her. Y'all, Yeah. So I saw all of this morning. I'm just bringing it to y'all. I'm just sharing. Listen, going back to your original statement, Natasha, I do not want to negate, and I have not negated Nicki Minaj's experience in the music industry. Do I think that Nicki Minaj has experiences the same way I said I will believe the victims? I believe the victims. Do I believe that Nicki Minaj was exploited? Do I believe that Nicki Minaj might have been taken advantage of? Do I believe that she may have even been violated? Sure. Absolutely. But that is not what this is about. And I'm not going to go back to 2020. Y'all might want to go back to 2020, but I'm not going back to 2020, okay? She inserted herself in a conversation that didn't have shit to do with her. Nothing came up about nothing came up about abuse, nothing, unless it came from her. Now, he did say something about Nicki's husband. He did say something about Nicki's husband. But nobody said anything about Nicki and her abuse situation or her alleged abuse situation. Nobody said that. Now, to be fair, and I do not follow Nicki like that. I'm not a Barb. I've never been a Barb. So I don't know Nicki accusing people of violating her. I mean, I know her saying that she was taken advantage of financially, but I didn't know anything about her being violated sexually. I never heard that story. But again, I'm not a Barb and I don't follow it like that. But I do know that she's talked about being financially taken advantage of. And I believe that to be true. I believe that. Now, I ain't going to say that I think that Roc Nation owe her $100 million or what she's saying. I don't know. But do I think that Nicki Minaj was taken advantage of? Absolutely. We've told that story a million times on here about people who were taken advantage of in the industry. We've told that story a million times. We've talked about going back to the Motown days and really before that. So, I mean, do I believe that Nicki Minaj was taken advantage of? Yeah. I still think somebody need to take her fucking phone. Two things can be true at the same time. I still think somebody need to come and take her damn phone. Now, that's how I feel about it. Moving right along. Child, down to the Texas. I'm going to make this short because El Teddy did a really great breakdown over on his live earlier today. But baby, down to the Texas, can I tell y'all I am sitting back with my bag of popcorn and I'm enjoying the show. Listen, I am here for the people down to the Texas. The lawmakers getting the hell out of town so that they can't have a quorum, so they can't fight on this corrupt bullshit redistricting map. I'm not mad at it. I told y'all last week that Democrats, well, I've been telling y'all really, but last week we had this conversation about Democrats having to figure out a way to play by the same rule book that the Republicans have been playing by. And we've been playing way too nice for too long. And I think this is a great moment of fighting back. And when I tell you that I love how them them Democratic Texas lawmakers got their ass out of town and they are chilling in blue states. Baby, when I tell you that they are up in Illinois and that they are in New York and they are enjoying themselves. Now, from my understanding, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, a special session, I think it only lasts a week. So they really only need to stay out of town for a week. And then they can come back. And then if they call for another special session, then they can go back out and then they can come back. Like, we can play this game. We can play this cat and mouse game for months. I just feel like I'm here for it. Now, they said that Abbott put out a warrant for their arrest. That don't mean shit. He put out a civil warrant. A civil warrant don't mean shit. It's not criminal. It means nothing. Now, he said that the minute they step foot back in Texas soil, they're going to be arrested. And do what? You're going to make them go into the... What you going to do? You're going to arrest them and take them into the state house? You arrested them because they ain't come to work? I didn't know you could get arrested for not coming to work. Yeah, he issued a civil arrest warrant. And I actually looked it up. Because I was the same. I was like, but it's not a criminal. So a civil arrest warrant, the simple definition, and I just Googled it, okay? A civil arrest is the detention of a person who is a defendant in a civil lawsuit until they post bail or pay the judgment. It is a legal process used to ensure that the defendant complies with the court's orders. This has nothing to, I mean, I don't even know how that applies. A civil arrest to do what? That just let me know that they're desperate. And what I think a lot of people are not understanding is how rich the governor of Illinois is. Allegedly, y'all know he's the heir to the Hilton dynasty. Y'all know that Paris and Nicole's parents sold the Hilton a long time ago, right? It still has the Hilton name, but it's not owned by the Hilton family. It's owned by the governor of Illinois' family. He is a billionaire. And allegedly, word on the curb is that he sent the private jet to come get them out of the state. Now, I don't know if that's true. You know how rumors get started. But allegedly, they're staying at Hilton hotels free of charge. Oh, Hyatt. I'm sorry. It's the Hyatt. But what I said about the Hilton is true. They don't own the Hilton anymore. That is true. They still don't own the Hilton. But, okay, it's the Hyatt. My bad. It's the Hyatt. It's the Hyatt. It's the Hyatt. His family owns the Hyatt. But Paris, they still don't own the Hilton. They sold it. They still don't own it. Anyway, they're still board members. They still have a lot of stock, but they don't own they don't own them anymore. Anyway, but yeah, it's Hyatt. My bad. Thank you, Bap. Thank y'all. Hyatt. But he's still a billionaire. He's still a billionaire, and they're staying at Hyatt hotels for free, from my understanding. So they don't have to worry about that. There are some, I don't think they're GoFundMe's, but there are some links. There are, I know, I got it. Thanks, Cajun. I know it's Hyatt, y'all. It's Hyatt. Don't nobody leave no comments in the chat. I mean, in the not the chat. If you're watching this in the replay, don't you leave no comments under this video correcting me. I done corrected myself 10 times. It's the Hyatt. But I'm still, what I said about the Hilton is true. They still don't own the Hilton anymore. They sold the Hiltons. But anyway, not they're attaching sirens to Governor Howard. I'm not doing this with you. Yeah, they made billions. So, but there is, I saw on a video I was looking at last night where there is a link where people want to make donations for them. Because again, these people do not make a lot of money. We're not talking about congressmen who end up making millions of dollars off of deals they make while they're in Congress. But these are state lawmakers, and they do not make a lot of money. So even with their hotel being covered and stuff like that, they still have, they still making sacrifices. So I would say find a reputable somebody like a Don Lemon or a Joy Reid, or one of these more reputable source. And if they drop a link for a fund, where you can donate and you want to donate, then do that. Y'all, she's challenging you. Don't let her tell you not to correct her in the comments. I did it, and what? What up, Mims? Hey, boo. Yeah, they still have to work full-time jobs. They do not make a lot of money. But I just think it's hilarious. I'm here for it. I'm loving the fight. And I'm interested to see where it goes from here. I'm definitely interested in seeing where it goes from here. So there you go. All right, let's get into these last couple of stories. Salt-N-Pepa has their ongoing lawsuit, you guys. Ain't nobody fooling with Mim's crazy tale. Matter of fact, you were on my mind too. I need to give you a call anyway. So they were on Good Morning America today. We talked last week or the week before last about their lawsuit, which as of right now, they've been allowed to, Tracy sent me the docket, and they've been allowed to make amendments before the judge makes his final decision. But let me read you guys what's going on for those who don't know. The women behind Salt-N-Pepa, the history-making female hip-hop group, claim the Universal Music Group has removed some of their biggest hits from streaming platforms amid a legal battle. They said that their fans may not be able to hear some of their music amid the lawsuit, in which the singers claim Universal Music Group is allegedly denying them the rights to the master recordings of their early music, including hits like Push It. It just keeps us from re-releasing our music or promoting it, Denton told Roberts in the interview, which aired Monday on Good Morning America. Denton and James claimed that UMG is allegedly violating federal copyright law by refusing to allow them to exercise their so-called termination rights, which allows artists to reclaim the copyright to their original recordings after a period of time. When you're an artist, in the beginning, you sign a contract saying that the copyrights will revert back to you in 35 years. And we've done all the things legally to get our copyright back, but they're just refusing, so we had to sue them. It's the law. That's what it really boils down to, Denton added. The Grammy Award-winning duo filed a lawsuit against UMG in May in U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York. Universal Music Group has filed a motion to dismiss that lawsuit, claiming in part that Salt-N-Pepa cannot exercise their termination rights because they are not the ones who signed the relevant contract. The company declined to comment to ABC News, citing the active litigation. They told Roberts that they are the artists and they believe the copyright law is meant to protect the artists. We didn't have the leverage. We don't have the leverage. We don't have the knowledge. We don't have that control in the 80s. And so to be held to a contract from 1985 and 40 years later, it's like ridiculous. Denton says she believes that UMG is allegedly holding on to that music because they know its worth. Obviously, it's something they want to keep. They want to hold on to it, and they're trying to fight us. So obviously, they understand what it's worth. The duo's lawsuit against UMG comes as they are preparing for a high point in their career, receiving going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Blah 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 blah. Okay. So as of right now, according to the latest docket that Tracy sent me, they have until July the 8th. I mean, Lord, I said July. They have until August the 8th to file an amended complaint, because the judge basically said, listen, if this is the complaint, it's probably not going to go in y'all favor. But if y'all want to go back and y'all want to file the amended complaint, then y'all can do that. Salt-N-Pepa need to do right by Spinderella. They settled. Because they even I've even seen them with Spinderella. Yeah, whatever the lawsuit was, they've settled that lawsuit. Yeah, from my understanding, they settled a lawsuit. Who bothering me? If it's Mims, Mims always trolling me, child. I ain't paying Mims no attention. Until Cheryl and Sandra do right by Spin, everything they did, y'all. They settled Spinderella's lawsuit. They settled her lawsuit. And hold on, let me Google it. Let me make sure I'm right, child. Let me see. Oh Lord. Yeah, they settled it. They settled it. They resolved their differences. The trial was canceled because they settled the case. They settled it back in 2020. I mean, in 2019, y'all. The case was settled. But that was probably part of the settlement. Thank you, Ms. Baythane, for gifting the membership. So here's the thing about the Salt-N-Pepa Spinderella beef. And if you guys remember their reality show, oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. You gifted 2 memberships. Thank you. Hold on. Let me see who got the memberships real quick, y'all. Thank you, Ms. Baythane. Ms. Baythane and Cross Country Cruiser. I know that they're going to always come through. They're going to always come through on the first of the month and give some memberships. Thank y'all. Okay, hold on. Let me see who got the 2 gifted memberships. Some memberships. Sierra. See, look, Sierra, you gifted a membership, girl. Me and Sierra didn't agree earlier, but you got a membership, girl. Come on through. And not Mims. Lord, y'all done gave Mims a membership. Ciao. Y'all done messed around and gave Mims a membership. Congratulations, Mims. Congratulations, Sierra. And thank you again, Miss Baythang. I appreciate you. Yeah, they choose it randomly, but you have to go into your settings and change your settings so that you can you can receive it. Let me say this. When Salt-N-Pepa and SWV did their reality show a few years ago, it was around the time that Salt-N-Pepa was doing their residency in Vegas, and they were trying to do a tour with SWV. That was when Spinderella. It was after that reality show where Spinderella filed the lawsuit against Salt-N-Pepa. What I'm going to say is this. If you hear both sides of the argument, I understand both sides of the argument. And here's from my understanding of what it was. Spinderella felt like when Salt-N-Pepa got that big record deal, I forgot how much it was for, but when they got that big record deal, they did not split the money equally with her 3 ways. And she felt like that was not fair because she felt like she was 1/3 member of the group. As a result, she quit the group, did her own thing for a couple of years. And when she came back to the group, they learned their lesson from the first time around and they hired her as an employee under their basically under their company. She was hired just like you would hire a DJ. She was hired as an employee. Now, she said that she felt like when it was time to do interviews and things like that, they did not always include her, and she always felt like she was 1/3 of the group. So that was her argument. Salt-N-Pepa's argument was they really felt like she was an important part of the group, but their thing was in the early days when they were struggling, when they was riding around in a car with no floor, when they were playing hole in the walls, when they were carrying their own equipment, they were like, she wasn't there for all of that. And by the time she came around, yes, we always looked at her as part of the group, but when the payday came, they felt like they were sort of owed that for the work that they had put in. Now, I'm not saying I agree or disagree with either side of the conversation, but that was the 2 arguments. So here's the thing. With that being said, they settled the lawsuit, right? They settled the lawsuit, but I'm sure that part of the settlement included some very clear, defined terms of who Spinderella is to Salt-N-Pepa and what that looks like moving forward, right? Now, when they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Spinderella was there. Spinderella was there. You know? So I think that they had to come to a clear understanding of what that looks like. And if you actually go back and watch that show and you hear Spinderella's point of view and you hear Salt's point of view, and Peppa was sort of in the middle. She sort of was kind of in the middle trying to play mediator. But if you hear both versions of the story, I understand both people's point of view. So when you go into mediation, that's the point of mediation. It's coming to some sort of common ground. It doesn't mean that everybody walks away happy, because in a negotiation, nobody should walk away 100% happy, because in a negotiation, it's give and take. You give it, I'm giving. You getting, I'm getting. So I think that to say, well, we don't see her with them, you may not. They may have agreed to whatever the settlement was. And again, they may decided to just do their own thing. They got greedy when they blew up and did her dirty. That's an opinion. That's an opinion. Yeah. I mean, again, I understand both sides of the argument. You know, I see both sides of the argument, but at the end of the day, they did settle the lawsuit. So Spin walked away with whatever she walked away with. I mean, we won't know. Obviously, we know we're not gonna find out what they walked away with, but you know. If I'm asked to be on the interview, I'm telling them to set up 3 chairs, not 2. I always found it weird that she was on the album covers and on every song. And the reality is, Spinderella is not the original DJ. She is not the original. The woman that we know as Spinderella is not the original Spinderella. She was not on the first album. If you go back and you look at the album cover for Hot, Cool, and Vicious, it's not her. She is not the original member. I remember, I'm about to show my age. I remember when Salt-N-Pepa came to DC, and it was Spinderella, the Spinderella that we know. It was her first show with them at the Cap Center. I don't remember the year, but I was in high school. And I remember they was talking shit about the original Spinderella. They talked cash money shit about that woman. And they were like, yeah, she this and she that. So we had to get rid of her. And I want y'all to meet our new DJ. Y'all meet our new DJ. So like, she's not the original Spinderella. She was not there for some of that early stuff. So, I mean, maybe, again, their argument might be, listen, she wasn't there for a lot of that shit. She wasn't there for the hard stuff. Now, I think that for some of their biggest hits, she was their DJ. I mean, Push It was on Hot, Cool, and Vicious. It was a B-side. But when we think about Express Yourself and What a Man and all that, she was there for those hits. You know, she was there for all of that. And so again, I see both arguments, y'all. I see what y'all are saying. They did, Chuck. They explained all of that in the movie. They did. They went through all of that in the movie. She was there for some of their biggest hits. Push It was probably was the biggest hit. And that was not her. She was not there for Push It. That was on their first album. That was on Hot, Cool, and Vicious. That was Push It is not Spinderella. But the rest of it is, the rest of it is. Corey, was that what it was? Was it Heavy D and Keith Sweat? You were there? Let me find out me and Corey was up in the Cap Center together. Yeah. I honestly don't remember who all was there, but I remember they talked cash money shit that night. That sound about right, though. Keith Sweat and Heavy D. That sound about right. But I remember they talked cash money shit about that original Spinderella, baby. They talked trash about her. And I do remember that. Yes, the original DJ person left because Salt thought she was messing with Herbie. Yep. And they didn't say that because at the time, they didn't want nobody to know that Herbie and Cheryl and Salt. But they definitely talk, baby. They talk cash money shit about her. Anyway, moving right along. Child, they suing Issa Rae. The people suing Issa Rae. We talking about some lawsuits, honey. They suing Issa Rae. They said that they suing Issa Rae's company because they claim that one of them days was a copy of their script. Let me read y'all this little article. I don't have the lawsuit. I don't want the lawsuit. We're just going to read through this article, honey. One of them days, starring Keke Palmer and SZA, landed in theaters in July of 2025, but screenwriters claim they came up with the idea in 2020. On Wednesday, July 30th, screenwriters Joshua Isaacson, Sean Cool, and Tyrone Perry filed a lawsuit against Issa Rae's production company, Color Creative, TriStar, Sony Pictures, and screenwriter Sarita Singleton, alleging that the 2025 film One of Them Days was lifted from their 2020 screenplay called One of Those Days. It got the same title. In court documents obtained by the outlet, the trio claimed they shared their script for the first time in 2023 with film producer Danny Hamoli. Then in April of 2024, They submitted the script for producers Roman Ariba and Xavier Charles, who worked on Insecure, for consideration. However, they passed on the project. One of Them Days, directed by Lawrence Lamont, which follows a chaotic day that befalls two roommates attempting to pay their rent against all odds, was announced on April of 2024 and released in January of 2025. It grossed over $51 million on a $14 million budget, and a sequel is currently in the works. According to the court documents, they claim the film shares substantial similarities with character arcs, plot sequences, and tone, 29 to be exact. To properly assess the script similarities, they hired screenwriter John Brancato to review them. They're asking for a jury trial and are suing for attorney's fees and damages. While Issa Rae has not commented on the lawsuit publicly, earlier this year, she did shed light on how One of Them Days came to be. During an interview, she said the film ultimately took 7 years to be greenlit from the time it was born during a lab program spearheaded by her company. Rae also opened up about how she was inspired to make this film when she realized it had been nearly 3 decades since we've last had a Black female-led buddy comedy. When you see one, you're like, why aren't there more of these? Why hasn't the last buddy comedy been since Baps? It's been 30 years since we've had this. And if it works, why is it always considered a risk to do so? This is all I'm going to say. I hope that that's not what happened. You know, I like Issa Rae. But what we also know is these cases are hard to prove. Ask Nikki Gilbert. She has been fighting this fight against Katori Hall and others as it relates to P-Valley. But people have won. That lady that sued Eddie Murphy and said that was it Coming to America was hers, and it took her forever. I mean, that lawsuit went on for a very long time, but at the end she won. At the end she won. So we're just gonna, you know, if there are any significant updates, child, we'll talk about it. But I will say this, and I'm not saying that I think it's true or it's not true, but I'm going to say this. Child, I didn't know it was this late. Lord, we've been here for almost 2 hours, and I still ain't talked about Uncle Nearest, child. I may just have to do a separate lawsuit and do a super video. Lord have mercy, I've been here for 2 hours. Child, don't nobody know when P-Valley coming back. P-Valley going to be like last week's episode of Ready to Love. You're going to be sitting here like, I don't remember none of this and none of these people. Anyway, with that being said, though, the Black lady she won too. She sure did. She won too. And you said that took, so maybe I'm thinking about that one. Natasha, maybe I'm thinking about but I know the lady that sued Eddie Murphy, I know she won. And it was either Coming to America or Boomerang. I can't remember which movie it was, but it was one of those Eddie Murphy movies. But you're right, The Matrix, she won too. So I mean, they just take a long time because remember, it's David going against Goliath. You know, it's David going up against Goliath. So we'll see. Oh, what I was going to say was, I will say this. When I never saw the movie, so let me be clear and tell you I never saw the movie. But when I saw the trailer for the movie, it very much reminded me of The Second Friday, where Day and Ice Cube are trying to get the rent money. Was that the second Friday or the third Friday? I don't remember no more. But it reminds me of how they went through all of this stuff trying to get the rent money. Am I thinking about Friday? Am I right, y'all? Wasn't that one of the Fridays where they had the money was stolen and they had to try to replace the money and they basically ran around? That was the second one. Okay. That's what I saw, and even down to the fact that Cat Williams made a cameo in it, right? Yeah. So anyway, Friday after next, yeah. And I'm not saying that means that this wasn't stolen, because again, I don't know. But I'm just saying, when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh, this is like Friday. What happened with that situation with the football player from The Blind Side? The last update we did, it was going into Tracy, what was the last update? Was going into mediation, I think the last update that we talked about, you know what? That's a good question, Sharice. We did do an update. I think it was like last year. Let me see. And then we're going to talk about Uncle Nearest, child. I want to say that they went into mediation. And y'all know once it goes into mediation, we may not hear anything else about it, child. Let me see. I think the last thing we talked about was in 2024, Michael Orr did an interview. Michael Orr did an interview and he just spoke out on the legal battle. So it still had not been resolved as of as of August the 19th of 2024. So it's been a year. It says, for a long time, I was so angry mentally with what I was going through. I want to be the person I was before. He filed the petition. Hold on. Yeah, he just did an interview basically talking about the lawsuit and why he didn't speak up sooner. So the last we heard, we read the TUI's response, and honestly, we haven't really heard much more since then. We might have to go back and see if anything else has been filed, because I really haven't been following it. Thank you, Sharice. We might have to go back and see if anything else has been filed or something like that. Okay, moving right along. Let's get into this last lawsuit. What's the timestamp? Because I'm gonna separate this into the separate lawsuit, and I'm bringing this to y'all because the response was so hilarious that I really want y'all to hear how these Black people laid these people out. So, for those who do not know, Uncle Nearest is the Black-owned whiskey company that are the descendants of the Black man that actually created the formula for Jack Daniels. Okay. The company has been doing very well over the last couple of years. Matter of fact, when I got on the cruise, Uncle Nearest was on Royal Caribbean, and I'm starting to see it in more and more. I'm starting to see it in more and more bars and stuff like that. And it's Black owned. So there was a lawsuit filed. Let me share the screen. There was a lawsuit. That's the wrong button. Lawsuit filed. Dang it. I keep hitting the wrong button, y'all. Sorry. So we're going to go through the lawsuit and the response because the response is hilarious. Okay. So here it is right here. Let me share the screen. All right. Let me make it a little bit bigger. Let me take that down. Okay. So this is Farm Credit Mid-America, PCA versus Uncle Nearest. And then the distillery, yada, 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 so forth and so on. So let's read through it. We are just going to read through the, y'all know how we do, child. We're going to read. Oh, shoot. Hold on, y'all. That's not what I meant to do. Hold on. Lord have mercy. Here we go. That's what I was trying to do. I was trying to scroll down. Okay. All right, we're just going to read through the facts, and then we're going to read Uncle Nearest the response. So, facts and documents common to all claims for relief. Uncle Nearest, founded by the Weavers in 2016, Uncle Nearest is a whiskey company headquartered in Shelbyville, Tennessee that markets and sells 8 different whiskeys. Upon information and belief, Uncle Nearest and the Weavers have also acquired the rights to or attempted to develop a vodka line and a cognac division. Located on a farm in Shelbyville, the Weavers built a Nearest Green Distillery. The Nearest Green Distillery hosts tours of the property and tastings of the various whiskeys. I want to go there too. I'm gonna put that on my to-do list. Additionally, in order to bring the Uncle Nearest brand to market, Uncle Nearest relies on outsourcing many key operations to deliver and market his whiskey to customers. So, the loan documents. Uncle Nearest and the lender are parties that certain credit agreement dated on July the 22nd of 2022. Dated October 20, as amended by the certain amendment that was dated October the 3rd of 2022 to the credit agreement dated December the 16th of 2022. And there was an amendment to that dated January the 26th of 2023. Number 4. So it's basically what they're saying is Uncle Nearest wasn't paying their money back. So let me just, so we have credit number 1, credit agreement number 1, credit agreement number 2, credit agreement number 3, number 4, number 5, all the way up to credit agreement number 8, where there was a forbearance agreement, and that's number 8. Okay. Pursuant to the terms of the credit agreement, the lender provided certain loans, extensions of credit, and financial accommodations to Uncle Nearest. There are 3 loans in this matter: a revolving loan, a term loan, and a reloc loan, collectively the loans. So the lender has on occasion agreed to increase the commitments to provide certain loans to Uncle Nearest and waive events of default in reliance upon Uncle Nearest representations as to its success and strategic growth. On July of 2022, the lender initially provided a revolving loan in the original commitment amount of $35 million to Uncle Nearest pursuant to the credit agreement. Over the course of the next year, upon request from Uncle Nearest, the lender agreed to amend the agreement 7 times and increased its commitment to provide revolving loans multiple times of $67 million. The current principal balance of the outstanding revolving loan is $65 million and some change. Pursuant to one of those amendments executed on July the 26th, it increased the revolving loan from 58 to 67 million, and it waived certain events of default that occurred and were continuing as a result of Uncle Nearest's failure to make timely principal interest payments and provide the required audited balance sheet of the 2022 fiscal year. It amended the credit agreement to permit Uncle Nearest to acquire a chateau in France to develop Uncle Nearest's cognac business and form a French subsidiary. To date, the lender has not received any information from Uncle Nearest that any portion of the cognac business is operational. The revolving loan was based upon a borrowing base availability composed of Uncle Nearest's eligible inventory and eligible accounts available pursuant to the credit agreement. Okay. As described in more detail below, Uncle Nearest previously failed to timely provide all required borrowing base reports, and the borrowing base reports that were ultimately provided apparently inaccurately inflated the borrowing base availability to approximately $67 million. So what they saying is y'all didn't submit the paperwork y'all was supposed to submit to support this amount of a loan, and what y'all did submit was falsified paperwork. Information Uncle Nearest provided to the lender in January 10th of 2025 reflected that the borrowing base as of August the 30th of 2024 and most likely November 30th of 2024, as well as, in fact, approximately $44 million given the principal balance of the revolving loan in August, and remains as of today at $64,000. So they're saying Uncle Nearest was required to immediately prepay approximately $24 million, and it failed to pay. So what they're saying, they're suing them saying, we gave you this loan, you submitted paperwork that supported a loan of $67 million, and when we did an audit, we found that basically this paperwork was only that your company was only worth the 40-something million dollars, and we immediately wanted the discrepancy back, and y'all failed to pay it. So now we're suing for that money. Okay. They're talking more about the term loans. Y'all know I don't want to bore y'all with all of that, but that is the gist of this lawsuit. Okay. Also, and this is the part I want to read y'all as well. It says that, hold on. On March the 30th of 2023, Uncle Nearest entered into an amendment for credit agreement pursuant to which the lender provided an additional term loan in the amount of $2.3 million for a property in Martha's Vineyard. Uncle Nearest requested the Martha's Vineyard property loan to, among other things, purchase a $2.2 million home in the exclusive Martha's Vineyard Island located off the coast of Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Uncle Nearest presented the purchase of the property to the lender as a marketing opportunity, which will enable Uncle Nearest to host branding events and rent property to other distributors for co-branding opportunities. Uncle Nearest represented and agreed that the proceeds of the property loan made to Uncle Nearest will be used to buy the property. On January of 2025, however, the lender learned that an entity that is not and never has been a borrower or other loan party, and they put right there, unhoused Martha's Vineyard LLC, was used to purchase the property using proceeds from the property loan, which is a violation of Section 6.11 of the credit agreement. And then they put the agreement there. Further, the lender learned that the house in Martha's Vineyard mortgaged that property to a different lender, Oak Tree Funding Corp, on or about September the 25th of 2024 to secure the Martha's Vineyard obligation to Oak Tree Funding under a promissory note in the principal amount of $1.5 million. Upon request by Uncle Nearest, the lender provided an additional term loan of $1.7 million. The current principal balance of the term loan is $22 million. And then they talk about the RELOC loan, which was used to finance the construction and build out of the Nearest Green Distillery, and that goes back to August of 2023. Repayment of loans. The credit agreement provides that Uncle Nearest is obligated to repay the revolving loans on the maturity date of the revolving credit facility installments throughout the term. And they're basically saying they ain't paying the money back when they're supposed to be paying the money back, right? And then it's talking about the different loans, the different amount. They're talking about the obligations. I'm not going to bore us with all of this because I want to get to their response. Okay. So this is what they're accusing them of. They're basically saying, listen, y'all lied about y'all paperwork to get money out of us that you're not entitled to, and you not paying back what you're supposed to be paying back. So again, so now it says the loan document defaults. Uncle Nearest has been in default under loan since early January 2nd of 2024 and has continued to incur further defaults over the last 18 months. One of the most recent defaults occurred as a result of Uncle Nearest's failure to pay the revolving loan in full on the applicable maturity date of July the 22nd of 2025. As of the date of this execution of the forbearance agreement, Uncle Nearest was in default of the terms of the credit agreement as a result of, among other things, the following by or against one or more of the loan parties. Okay, and then of course they're once again giving you the amounts and the dates. Failure to pay, and then they're listing all the times they failed to pay, child. I ain't about to read all of that. They listing all the times that they failed to pay on this loan. All of that is failure, 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 failure. More failure, 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 failure. More failure, 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 failure. All of this is them saying that the people did not pay them their money. Okay. And now it's talking about all the times they gave them the notice of what they needed to pay and when they needed to pay it. All of that is the notices. Okay. All right. So that is the initial lawsuit. Now, I want to get into the response because I find the response to be interesting. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat before we read through the response. I heard Shelbyville is beautiful. I like I said, I want to go. I want to go. All right, now let's read through the response, okay? And the response is very short, which, you know. Oh, shoot. I hit the wrong button. Shut up. Keep hitting the wrong button. Okay. All righty then. All right, let me share my screen. Share my world. Okay. All right. So this is the response. I didn't know Uncle Nearest created Jack Daniels. Uncle Nearest, okay, so Nearest Green was the actual former slave that helped the Jack Daniels create the formula. If you ever look at a Jack Daniels box, it says Jack Daniels 66. Is it 63, 66? That's actually the formula because they had tried 60 something times. Hold on, 54. I said 66, 54. That 54 number is the 54th recipe. And that's the recipe that they use. And Uncle Nearest basically helped develop it. If you ever go to the Jack Daniels distillery, there's a whole wall dedicated to Nearest Green. Mm-hmm. All right, so let's read through this, the response. And the response is short, y'all. The response is short. You watch the History Channel about Nearest Green? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Oh, let me hit this button. All right, let me make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so this is the defendant's response in opposition to the plaintiff's emergency motion for the immediate appointment of a receiver. So what they wanted to do was to put Uncle Nearest under a receivership, right? They were basically accusing him of not being able to handle their business. Damn it, I did it again. Of not being able to handle their business, and they put it under a receivership, okay? So that's kind of what they wanted the judge to do. So here's the response. Okay. Dang it. I can't scroll. Oh, let me scroll down. Oh my gosh, y'all. I'm sorry. I keep hitting the wrong button. Hold on. Let me. Okay, here we go. Lord have mercy. Okay. Can y'all see it on the screen? Let me make sure y'all can still see it. Okay, y'all can still see it. I'm with it, Lauren. I'm definitely with it. I definitely want to go. All right. Defendants, Uncle Nearest Inc., Nearest Distillery, yada, yada, yada. Hereby submit this response in opposition to the plaintiff's Farm Credit Mid-America emergency motion for the immediate appointment of a receiver, asking the court to grant the extraordinary remedy of appointing a receiver for Uncle Nearest. Defendants are reviewing plaintiff's submission and preparing for the August 7th of 2025 hearing. However, given the multiple salacious and inaccurate allegations on both plaintiff's complaint and a motion that casts Uncle Nearest in a negative light, Uncle Nearest submits this response addressing certain key claims to correct the record and provide the court with critical missing context. It will address these issues more fully at the August 7th hearing. So let me tell y'all something. Now, this is a black company. This a black woman. That already lets you know right there that this about to be a situation. Right, Uncle Jay? It sounds like they're trying to backdoor their way into taking over this black-owned business. Exactly. And they said, we need to clear some things up, okay? Let's clear some things up. So let me read y'all what it says, honey. First, listen, you already know. When somebody started the sentence off with first comma, plaintiff's motion claims that defendants materially overstated their barrel inventory, resulting in an overstatement of collateral by approximately $21 million. Plaintiff ignores that it was not the defendants that made this overstatement, but rather it was the defendant's former chief financial officer acting on his own and who has now been terminated. Between 2022 and 2023, the former CFO represented to the plaintiff that Uncle Nearest had 77,000 barrels of whiskey on hand and used this overstatement to secure a $24 million line of credit increase. Plaintiff approved the increase without verifying the inventory with the third-party warehouse provider. While Uncle Nearest's chief executive officer signed the loan amendments reflecting the credit increase, those documents contained no information about barrel counts, and the former CFO was the sole signee on all loan notices used to request funding secured by the barrels. Hold on. Inventory reporting was handled separately and exclusively by the former CFO. So, and I know some people might be like, oh, well, but the CFO, the buck stops with the CFO. But what they're saying is, number one, y'all didn't verify it either. Y'all gave us that money increase without verifying that the inventory was accurate. And number two, when we found out this man was on some fraudulent bullshit, we fired him. Okay, we didn't know he was on this fraudulent bullshit. And when we found out he was on this fraudulent bullshit, we fired him. Okay? But you don't find our signature on the loan paperwork that talks about no barrel increase because we didn't have nothing to do with that. Now, that's what they said. Let's keep reading, okay? Plaintiff was uniquely positioned to know that the former CFO had engaged in fraudulent activity, conduct that is now under third-party investigation, including this specific instance. The lead investigator met directly with the plaintiff's CEO to share that information, confirming that the Weavers were not aware of the fraud or the over-reporting that triggered the technical default that plaintiff now primarily relies upon to seek an appointment of a receiver. Further, plaintiff's managing director of food and agro business and his financial officer were directly involved in overseeing the loan and facilitating disbursements tied to the barrel collateral and worked closely with Uncle Nearest's former CFO. Plaintiff additionally ignores that the January 2024 defendants notified plaintiff of this overstatement by submitting verifiable inventory reports based on the actual barrel inventory. No one at Uncle Nearest was aware that the CFO had inflated the previous reports. Once the updated report was provided, the discrepancy became evident. So they said, number one, we fired that person as soon as we found out. And then we filed a police report, and then the police told you what the man did. And then we submitted a proper inventory to y'all when all of this happened. So y'all knew what was going on. We told y'all. Okay, we fired that person. We filed paperwork. We going through the legal channels. The police let y'all know what was going on. And then we gave y'all a proper inventory. So if you wanted your $21 million back, why you ain't say nothing then? Okay. All right, let's keep reading. Despite being aware for several months of this overstatement by the former CFO, plaintiff's motion tellingly fails to acknowledge that Uncle Nearest is the victim of fraudulent activity and never intended to trigger the default. Second, this is the part that I wanted y'all to hear. I need y'all to hold on. I need really, y'all, for real. I know we lost some people, but baby, it's still 200 of y'all in here. This is the part that I really wanted y'all to hear. This is the part I really wanted y'all to hear. Okay, y'all listening? Second, the motion claims that defendants misrepresented the term loan proceeds would be used by Uncle Nearest to purchase a $2.2 million home on Martha's Vineyard Island by the entity whose existence has never been disclosed to the lender. Again, the motion ignores critical context. The motion omits that defendants were fully transparent with the plaintiff about the purchase and intended purpose of the property. The plaintiff made no objection to the purchase at the time that the funds were advanced. Hold on, let me scroll down. At the time that the funds were advanced, Although the plaintiff was aware that proceeds would be used for the Martha's Vineyard property, it did not request or, based on information and belief, take any action to perfect a security interest in the real estate, nor did it request closing documentation. Throughout the process, plaintiff was kept fully informed. Plaintiff's managing director and food of agribusiness and financial officer traveled to Martha's Vineyard in 2023 with the Uncle Nearest former CFO, the one they fired, the one that lied on the documents, and stayed in a plaintiff-funded rental. Internal emails confirmed the trip was social in nature and included plans for group outings and bike rentals. See Declaration of Fawn Weaver as attached as Exhibit 1. While there, they attended Uncle Nearest's inaugural gospel brunch at the Martha's Vineyard property and expressed unsolicited praise for the acquisition. The plaintiff also received renovation updates and never raised objections. Plaintiff's direct participation and documented support contradict the narrative it now offers in its motion. So y'all tried to act like y'all didn't know nothing about this Martha's Vineyard property, that they did it behind your back, that they tried to do some bait and switch with the loans, and come to find out, not only did y'all know about the property, y'all hung out at the property, y'all went to the brunch at the property, y'all was riding bikes around Martha's Vineyard at the property. So like you said, Uncle Jay and a few other people in the chat, baby, they was trying to steal this business from these people. They was trying to steal this company. That's what they was trying to do. Hold on, I'm almost done. Third, the motion suggests that defendants were derelict in their payment obligations. Uncle Nearest has paid nearly $9 million in loan payments to the plaintiff. And in 2025, the company made a payment of $7.5 million. These payments were made while Uncle Nearest worked in good faith to resolve the technical default caused solely and entirely by the former CFO. In the midst of that resolution effort, Uncle Nearest proactively engaged a third-party financial advisory firm, one that was selected with the knowledge and approval of the plaintiff, to work alongside plaintiff's team in negotiating a path forward. That firm advised Uncle Nearest to pause payments during the active negotiation period, explaining that such a pause was standard protocol in bank negotiations of this nature. Uncle Nearest did not take that recommendation lightly. It independently verified the guidance with other respected professionals in the banking community. Still, it frequently expressed to the advisory team that the plaintiff was working alongside, that it would prefer to continue making payments, stating openly that it wanted to avoid any future suggestion that it was not servicing the debt. Despite those instincts, Uncle Nearest honored the advice of the plaintiff approved financial team in an effort to collaborate toward a solution. Importantly, the plaintiff was fully aware of this payment pause and did not object because it was part of the mutually agreed upon process. Once a mutual agreement was reached, Uncle Nearest paid the mutually agreed upon amount of $7.5 million immediately. But for the fraud perpetrated by the defendant's former CFO, defendants fulfilled their monetary obligations to the plaintiff. In other words, plaintiffs were and are victims of fraud, not perpetrators or conspirators. The appointment of a receiver is not a matter of right, but rather lies in the discretion of the district court and will be exercised only when necessary to protect the plaintiff's interest in property which is subject of the action. And that's a quote from a case. Here, defendants acknowledge that the agreements at issue technically allow for a receiver to be appointed, but given the circumstances, one should not be appointed here. Plaintiff was fully informed and aware of the circumstances that led to the technical default and was working side by side with defendants to find a resolution. Plaintiff was also fully informed about the purchase of the Martha's Vineyard property, and its employees and agents even went to an inaugural event at the property. The plaintiff was also aware of defendant's payment pause that was fully supported by a third-party financial advisory firm that plaintiff approved and worked with. Plaintiff and its employees and agents were actively involved in and frankly acquiesced to the exact circumstances that is now claiming somehow support a receivership. But plaintiff's actions throughout these several months demonstrate that the plaintiff was not truly concerned that its collateral was in danger of being lost. And even now, its collateral is not in imminent danger of being lost, concealed, injured, diminished in value, or squandered, absent a receiver. This is particularly true given Uncle Near's payments to the plaintiff totaling approximately $16.5 million over the last 18 months. Given the circumstances, the drastic and extraordinary remedy of a receivership is both unwarranted and inappropriate, and it should be denied. Y'all, the way this attorney, Adam and Reese LLP, the what's his name, Rocklam King III, baby, the way Rocklam King and his paralegals, because y'all know the paralegals be writing all this stuff, child, and his paralegals tore this lawsuit up. That's why I wanted to share it with y'all, because I know in the beginning y'all was probably like, really, B, why are you bringing us the story of this company that lied and they about to lose their business? Why are you bringing us this bad news? But baby, I brought it to y'all because when I saw the response, when I saw the response, I just needed to let y'all know that they're not playing with these people. And that the fact that y'all came down there and y'all were dishonest about what really happened and how it really went down, baby, I was here for it. Okay? I was here for it. And that's why, and I love me some Uncle Nears. Y'all know I'm a Jack Daniels girl, but I love me some Uncle Nears. And honestly, if I see Uncle Nearest on the bar, I will order Uncle Nearest before I order Jack Daniels these days, if I'm being honest. Cruz is here. If she might be gone by now. Cruiser, because Cruiser be jumping around, child. Cruiser might be gone. But Cruiser can tell y'all, when we went on that cruise in August, they have cigar under the stars. They have because the cruisers used to have a cigar bar, but I guess they don't put them on ships anymore. I don't know why. Because before I took my little pause from cruising, I would always go to the cigar bar, and it was like a regular cigar bar. They had humidors, and people could bring their own cigars, and it was a nice room with the cognac and the leather. It was like a real cigar bar. Hold on, y'all. I'm sorry. Give me a second, y'all. Hold on. Also, the Uncle Nearest bar is the longest in the country. Is really nice in there. Where is it? Tell me where the Uncle Nearest bar is. Super K. I'm gonna try to find it. Is it in Shelbyville? I want to go to Shelbyville too. I want to go to the distillery. But anyway, so they don't really have the cigar bar. At least the last two ships I went on, they didn't have a cigar bar. But what they do have, they have something called Cigar Under the Stars. So it's in Shelbyville. Okay, I want to go. Super K. Symmetry, I want to go too. But there's something called Cigar Under the Stars, where you on the upper deck, they pull out the cigars, they pull out the different cognacs, and you can sit up there and smoke. They section it off, and it's in the adult area, so you're not around the kids and stuff like that. And it's really nice because it's at dusk. So like you're up there as the sun is setting at the top of the ship. It's really nice. It really is. But Cruz will tell you, she ain't in here because she would have dropped down by now. But Cruz will tell you I saw Uncle, because they give you the cigar and then they give you the pairing, right? Oh, this cigar pairs well with Marcus Mark, da-da-da-da-da. This cigar pairs well with that. As soon as I saw Uncle Nearest, I ain't care what the cigar was. I was like, I want that one. Whatever that cigar is, I ain't even asked the price. I was just like, because I wanted to, my thing was, I wanted to support Uncle Nearest because I said, it's on Royal Caribbean. They'll stop carrying it if people aren't buying it. You see what I'm saying? And it's not at every bar. You can't get Uncle Nearest at every bar on the ship. Not the ship we were on. Maybe now, but again, when y'all see it, buy it. I mean, if y'all a drink, I ain't telling you to buy something if you're not going to drink it. But if you are a dark liquor drinker, buy it. Buy it. And let me say that too, for the people who smoke cigars, not sticky icky, real cigars, bring your cigars on the cruise because I'm sure they're going to have it. I'm sure they're going to have the cigar under the stars. I just can't with cigars. I refer to them affectionately as funky art cigar. It ain't for everybody. I love cigars. And I'm going to tell y'all now, if y'all going on the cruise with me, I'm telling y'all, I'm going to go. So I'm going to be up there. I went to a Black Smoke event years ago on Miami first cigar event. I met Uncle Nearest owner. It was a beautiful event. My first cigar bar experience. Oh, that's nice, Natasha. That's nice. Child, we've been here for almost 2.5 hours, honey. Y'all been hanging out with me. Now, Black and Mild. Now, I do smoke Black and Milds, but I like cigars too. But I don't smoke cigars regular. Not every day, I don't. But I do like I ain't gonna lie, I like my Black and Milds. I ain't gonna tell y'all no lies now. I do like my Black and Milds, honey. All right, let me get ready to get out of here, y'all. Thank y'all for hanging out. Child, we've been here for 2.5 hours, honey. I'm about to get up off of here now. I did not mean to be on here this long. I don't know if y'all gonna get a review tonight or not, because I ain't mean to be here till 9 o'clock. I thought I was only gonna be here till about 8, maybe 8:15. But baby, I told you I gotta get up and go to work in the morning. I gotta go to bed in about an hour and a half, honey. So with that being said, let me get up off of here. Thank y'all for hanging with me. And Sierra, baby, you know it's all love. We can disagree, and I love the fact that you stay and we good with that. Xavier, me and Xavier disagree a lot, but he know that's my baby. Xavier, my baby child. But with that being, thank y'all for hanging out with me. We'll be back tomorrow doing something, child. I don't know what we're gonna be doing, but we'll be back tomorrow doing something. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.